Hi everybody, in this video I'm going to be speaking to you about pensions if you're in between 30 and 40 years of age. You will notice a lot more stories on my IGTV this week, and what I'm planning on doing here is putting people into buckets. So I've done one for 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, public service, if you're working with an employer pension, if you've no employer pension. So I'm splitting them all up. So you might want to watch 2 or 3 videos for argument's sake. If you're 30s and you're public servant, you might want to watch those 2 videos. If you're 30s and you have an old company pension plan, a new company pension plan, you might want to watch all 3 videos, etc. So I'm trying to give people really good financial planning advice that are in this bracket, because last week I did my videos all around pensions. We got a lot of inquiries from people, and I do think it really makes a difference on where you sit financially, how you handle a pension plan. So if you're 30 years of age, between 30 and 40 years of age, now there's a big difference between 31 and 40, by the way, and I understand that, or 39 years of age, but I'm trying to get them into some level of buckets. So what I talk about here is that it really depends on where you are financially at this stage in your life before you look at pension plans. You might be lucky enough to have a company pension plan where you and your employer are paying in. You probably don't know anything about that pension plan if that is you, but again, if it is you, go check out the next video. You might be self-employed. You might just be writing a check at the end of every October when your accountant tells you to do so to minimize your tax bill to the revenue. If you're not doing that, that's definitely something you should be doing if you're self-employed. But in your 30s and 40s, or in between your 30s and your 40s, you're probably looking for mortgages. You might have started a family, have a really young family. You might have mortgages, rent, kids, a lot going on. So if you haven't done anything about your pension in your 20s and your 30s, you might start noticing conversation with friends about pensions. You might have people saying they set one up or they got one in work, and you might be involved in these conversations. The thing is not to worry. In my professional opinion, in your 20s and 30s, this is my 20 video as well, but in your kind of 30s, you've got so much going on financially, but you have to realise that you have 30 years before you get to retirement age. So it's not something I think you need to panic about. I think if your employer is giving you money, you should definitely get into the pension plan ASAP, because there's a lot of free money on the table there. And I'm going to discuss employer pension plans in a video later on. But so make sure you check that one out if that sounds like you. But in your 30s, it's really important that you have a good financial plan in place. I think it's way more important for a family to have a mortgage and a couple of kids maybe, or someone that hasn't got a mortgage yet and are trying to get a mortgage together for the first time, possibly renting at ridiculous rents, that it's very important to have an investment account first. I think that's more problematic. I'd rather see people getting to 40 years of age or mid-30s and having 20 or 30 grand in an investment account rather than that locked away until your 60s. I don't think that necessarily makes sense all the time. There are a few exceptions, like I said. If you have a company pension plan, or if you're self-employed and you're off writing the tax off, it's a complete no-brainer. You kind of have to do it, really, to be honest with you. But in other circumstances where you're not involved in the company pension plan, or you're not self-employed and you haven't got a pension for whatever reason, I wouldn't be worried too much about it. I would start planning it by the time I got to 40, 45 years of age. And yes, it's going to cost you more. Now, I often hear advisors, pension advisors, and other financial advisors saying get into your pension as young as possible because, it's less work to do when you get to your 40s and 50s. What I've noticed by dealing with so many clients, especially from a financial planning point of view and looking at people's overall finances and giving them good financial plans, if you're serious about a financial plan, you've got loads of time. If it is meaning when you're 40 or 45 years of age, you've got 25, and okay, you might have to put way more into your pension plan. Your kids are probably grown up by then. You're probably well set into your mortgage. You probably have no creche fees. Your kids are probably in school. You mightn't have any short-term debt the way some people do tend to have it in their 30s hanging over from their 20s. And you might owe family money because you had to borrow off them to get yourself on the property ladder. So whatever your circumstances are, I find that 30 to 40 bracket seems to be the most stressful when it comes to money, from what I can tell by dealing with thousands of people over my career. So this video is for you. If that sounds like you, please do not panic about pensions, but please consider getting involved from a financial planning point of view and getting someone to look at where you're currently sitting financially and how it looks between now and 100 years of age. We've got the software and we bring our financial planning clients through that all the time, and really help them identify what steps they need to put in place and when. So maybe a conversation with me and my team now will be practical to say, well, look, you don't need to start your pension till you're 40 or 42, or here's what it looks like if you could afford a little bit now, even €100 per month, which before income tax relief is probably going, or after income tax relief, going to probably cost you €60 or €80 per month, which is really small. But again, you might have loads of things going on in your life and it mightn't be practical. But that's what this is about. It's about getting a financial plan rather than just being sold a pension and putting money aside for 30 or 40 years in some cases. I hope this video has added value. Please reach out if you do want a financial plan. But in other words, please share it or please ask me any questions you have. And if you are someone that's got to this stage in their life and they have an old company pension plan and they maybe had in their 20s or early 30s and they've left employment and they went to another job, you still can look after that old pension plan. So please reach out to myself and the team. We can give you the advice around how to transfer from your old pension plan, your old company employer pension plan rather, into your own name so you can take control of it. In some cases, you can access those pensions from 50 years of age, which is quite good. But anyway, as always, any questions, don't drop me a DM or send me an email to questions@askpaul.ie. Thanks.